Welcome back. I feel like I'm doing these a lot more frequently than usual, but I am here with another book haul and unboxing for you. I recently went to the Brooklyn Book Festival and picked up a lot more books there than I had originally planned on, so I'm going to show you guys those books today. I also have a book outlet order. Hooray, book outlet. It's so dangerous, but guys, I mean, if you haven't checked out book outlet, I will link it down below. It's dangerous, like I said. Cheap prices, great books. And they were having a sale where I got like $5 off or something. Yeah, anyway, so I will open that with you, and then I also have a handful of other books that I've acquired just in the last couple of weeks that I thought I would throw in here so that I don't have to save them for another haul. I've got like a couple pre-orders that came in and some things I picked up. So yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and start with the random books that I picked up. Then I'm going to show you all of the books that I hauled at the Brooklyn Book Festival this year. You briefly see these in my vlog of Brooklyn Book Festival, which I can link up above, but I don't really talk in detail about what most of them are, so I will give you guys a little more information in this video. And then finally we will do the book outlet unboxing. I peeked at like the first couple books, but I haven't opened all of it, and I'm like really excited. It just came in the mail yesterday. Ready to unbox it. Okay, so the first book that I picked up was one because I had some store credit at the Strand from selling back books. And if you guys saw my last haul, you saw that I had another book outlet order where I accidentally picked up the second book in a Kendara Blake series. It was the second book in the Goddess War trilogy. So at my local bookstore, I found a copy of the first book in the trilogy for $5. I had some store credit, so I picked up Anti-Goddess by Kendara Blake. And this is some kind of a dark feminist retelling of Greek gods or something like that. But in general, I'm just really loving Kendara Blake, so now I have that as well. Then I had a pre-order that came in, which I am so excited about. I also included this in my Contemporary-thon vlog. I don't know if it's going to be one vlog or two vlogs. I'm in the middle of Contemporary-thon as I'm filming this, but I also have like a backlist of videos that need to go up, so I don't know when this is going to go up. But yeah, I'm really excited. I have Pride by E.B. Zaboy. I have already read this. I have an arc of it, but I really loved it, and it's so beautiful, guys. So I'm going to show you. This is embossed, it's raised, it's stunning, and then look at these end papers. Oh my goodness, they are gorgeous. I absolutely love it, and this is the spine of the book, which is also just absolutely stunning. So I am very happy to have this. I really, really love this. If you guys haven't heard me talk about it before, I feel like I've talked about it in several videos, but this is a modern urban remix of Pride and Prejudice. It is set in Brooklyn, and it deals with gentrification and race and class prejudice, much in the way that Jane Austen dealt with class prejudice in her day and age. So yeah, anyway. Really love this, and I got to go to the signing, which was very exciting. I think this is what was in my vlog, so I got it signed, and I'm so happy to have this. So I've read it, but I have a finished copy, which is very fun. Another book that I picked up at a signing that I did actually have an arc of, but I think I told you I wanted to own a finished copy of, is Rage Becomes Her, The Power of Women's Anger by Soraya Chemaly. This is one that I did an individual book review for. I loved it. This is one of the best nonfiction books that I have read this year. Probably the best one I've read that's come out this year for sure. Absolutely loved it. And the talk was so great. I think I have a vlog of it that will be going up at some point, so I will link that up above. But yeah, I got it signed. I got to meet her, and it was really cool because she actually retweeted my video review of it and like had some really kind things to say about it, which was very exciting. So when I met her, I mentioned that, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, that's you. That's so great." Anyway, she like gave me a hug and was like, "You like made my day." So it was cool. It was a very cool experience. So yeah, the talk was really good. I love this book. I probably at some point will reread it with people and like tab it up, but yeah, I have a finished copy, which I'm very happy to have. Then I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I had been looking to find a copy of Little Women because I have my childhood copy, which is like absolutely destroyed. I'm still keeping it for sentimental reasons, but I love Little Women and really wanted to have a new copy of it. So I've been kind of keeping an eye out because I wanted to wait until I saw a version that I really was into, and I found this, guys, and it just came out. I found a half-price copy for like $12 at the Strand, and it is beautiful. This is brand new. It is the 150th anniversary illustrated edition. Guys, look at this cover. It's so pretty. Like I said, it was like $12.50. The end papers, yes, yes. It's just, this book is absolutely beautiful, and so it's kind of cool. It has little illustrations at the beginning of every chapter. So yeah, like I love it. I love it so much. I really love this book. Part the second. It's so pretty, and I am loving this edition, so I'm really happy that this is the one I picked up. And I like that it's a hardcover. I wanted a hardcover because I feel like they sometimes last a little bit longer. Yeah, so I found an edition of Little Women, and I'm really happy that I have this one. All right, 2 more random books I picked up, and then I will get into my haul from the Brooklyn Book Festival. First is a book that I've been hearing such great things about. I found an early copy of it, half price, and I actually have an e-arc of it that I need to read in the next couple of weeks. But guys, it's so beautiful. This is Beneath the Citadel by Destiny Soria, and this is a dark YA fantasy that I believe has some queer elements to it. It's just so pretty. I really like the cover is really cool, like the melting skull with like the spiral staircase. I'm so into it. Oh man, look at that. I haven't even looked underneath yet. That's so beautiful. And like gold end papers. Yeah, I'm really into this. Anyway, so I suspect that I am really going to like this. I hope I'm right, but I will be reading this very, very soon because I do have an e-arc that I need to get to and review, but I will probably read my finished copy because it's so pretty. And then lastly, this is another upcoming release that I just couldn't resist, guys. I think because it involves stuff about YouTube. I don't know for sure if I'm gonna like this or not, but I kind of think it might be, ooh, it's blurred by Patrick Rothfuss. Oh, hell yes. Okay, I'm really glad I picked this up now. So this is An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. And this is actually adult. For some reason, I thought it was going to be YA. It is not. This is John Green's brother. And I think it's sort of modern sci-fi-ish, but it deals with being on YouTube and has this like weird thing that, because I think it's got this like weird statue-ish thing that shows up and then someone videotapes it and it goes viral. So I'm really interested in the premise. I've been hearing a few good things, and I mean, man, seriously, Patrick Rothfuss blurbed it? That's amazing. Catherine M. Valente, which I know some people really love, John Scalzi. Okay, so yeah, so I'm really happy now that I picked this up. I found a half-price copy a little bit early. It's really pretty too, actually. It's like quite a pretty book. It's got some cool end papers, and like, look at that cover. It's like, it's really beautiful. So, okay, I'm happy about that. If you don't know, Patrick Rothfuss, one of my favorite all-time authors. I'm really hoping I can get into this panel he's doing at Comic-Con. Fingers crossed, guys. I would be so excited if I could get into that. So I'm gonna try my darndest. Okay. Now, let's get into the books that I picked up at the Brooklyn Book Festival. There were a lot more of them than I had anticipated. I went in and I was like, oh, I'm not going to get any books. I'll bring a couple that I already have to get signed. That was not an effective thing. I got a lot of books. I didn't pay for all of them, but I paid for a good number of them. I mean, I guess I should have known better. It's a book festival. Duh. Of course, I'm going to like pick up books, but yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. Firstly, I had a book that the author, I met up with the author and we were chatting a bit, and she was kind enough to actually give me a copy of her first book. It is a paranormal fantasy romance book. This is The Last Wolf, The Legend of All Wolves by Maria Vale, and she was super sweet, and the book sounds really interesting. It deals a little bit with environmental conservation through this sort of romance story with these wolves, and she was also telling me that they have their own culture, they have their own language, and she uses like Old English as part of it. Also, in the prologue, one thing that I think is really interesting is that I think their alpha is female, which is kind of cool. So anyway, she was super sweet to give me this, and I'm really excited to pick it up sometime soon, so thank you so much for that. Guys, if you're into this sort of thing, definitely go check her out. Then Harper Perennial had a booth, and they had a bunch of really great books, and they had this wonderful deal where it was 3 books for $20. So I definitely had to hit them up for that. First of all, if you guys don't know, I recently read an arc of The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White and loved it. It is a retelling of Frankenstein, and it's been a long time since I read the original. It really made me want to go back and revisit that book. So they had this really gorgeous limited edition copy of Frankenstein, which I don't currently own, so I picked this up. This is one of the olive editions. I actually have 2 other books in this edition as well, but it's so pretty. This is so on point. It's beautiful, and I love the spines. I love these little editions. They're normally $10 each. They're limited. You can't get them for more than a few months. Once they're gone, they're gone. And so yeah, I'm really happy to have this and add it to my collection. It is a book I've read, but it's not one that I own. So that was the first of my 3 books that I got for $20. The other 2 were nonfiction books by an author that I've been really wanting to read more of. A couple of months back, I read a short story collection, Aidi by Roxane Gay, and I loved it. One of the stories made me cry, really cry, and I rarely, if ever, cry when I'm reading books. I just loved everything about it. It was 5 stars, and it really made me want to pick up more of her work. And so they had 2 of her nonfiction books, which I picked up. I have Bad Feminist, which is a series of essays that's supposed to be really good. And then I also picked up Hunger, a memoir of my body, which I've also heard just fantastic things about, where she really thinks through society and the way that it affects things like hunger and dieting and food and body image. And so I'm definitely here for that as well. So yeah, that was, I thought, a really great deal. So I got all 3 of those for 20 bucks. And all ones that I'm very excited to add to my collection. I also picked up a couple of children's books. I thought it was just really cool. They were selling these for only $5 each at the end of the day to get rid of stock, but there is a publishing company that is re-releasing these old out-of-print children's books in new, beautiful hardback editions, and so I grabbed 2 of them for my kids, and one of them we've already read and was a huge hit. It's hilarious. It came out in 1950, but this is The Backwards Day by Ruth Krauss, and this is a picture book, and look, these editions are so pretty. They're these nice hardback ones, but my 4-year-old thought this was hilarious. So it's Backwards Day, and the kid like puts his underwear on over his clothes and walks backward, and it gets his family involved. He was like cracking up dying, so like some things never change in terms of children's humor, so that was a huge hit. So I picked up that one. And then the other one is a little bit more of a chapter book, so we might read it together, which we occasionally do. We've got books that we're reading together. So this is Jim at the Corner by Eleanor Farheon. I think this came out in like the 1960s or something, but it is about an old retired sailor who sits on the street corner and tells stories to children about like giant sea serpents and a chimpanzee that eats stew, and yeah, anyway, it just sounds like a really fun book, and it also has like some nice illustrations in it. So yeah, I was really excited to pick those up for the kids. This is kind of out of order of when I purchased them during the day, because I have like lots more books to show you, but on my way to the subway station to head home, I thought I was done, and then I passed a table where this woman was selling a bunch of books for $2 each, and so I picked up 3 there as well, which is a pretty good deal. One was actually an ARC of a book that I have an e-ARC for, and it's really pretty, so I'm happy to have this. This comes out soon, so I'll be reading it. I already started. It's Grim Lovelies by Megan Shepherd. And this is YA fantasy set in Paris. It is about a girl who is, I don't know what she originally was, but she was created to look like a human by a witch, and is stuck in the house kind of as a servant, but then I think something happens, maybe the witch dies or something, and she joins up with others. I'm not really sure exactly, I'm not very far into it yet, but it sounds pretty interesting, and the cover is really beautiful. So this one comes out in October. I also found an ARC of When Katie Met Cassidy by Camille Perry. I've just been hearing some really good things about this book. I think it's got like a female-female romance in it. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I've just been hearing people chatter about it, some of the people that I like to follow. And then the last book that I picked up is From Here to You by Jamie McGuire, and I think I originally saw this on Shay Geeks Out, her channel. I think she really liked it. It sounds to me a little bit like a thriller, but she was saying it's not really a thriller, but maybe like domestic suspense or something. I don't know, so I picked those up all for $2 each. Definitely the most expensive book that I bought at the book festival. This one was still on sale, but it was like $15, which was more than I normally spend for a book, but it is one that's been on my radar for a while, and it's this like beautiful signed copy, and it was kind of an impulse buy, to be perfectly honest, but this is The Incendiaries by R.O. Kwon. I think I bought this because I was thinking, oh, maybe this is the only book I'll buy. It was at the beginning of the day, and then it wasn't, so probably if I had waited, I might not have, but I am kind of happy to have it. It's a really pretty cover. It is signed, and it's been on my radar for a while. It sounds really interesting. It's a fairly short book, but it is about a couple of students at the university, and I think at least one of them gets involved with this cult that turns out to be a terrorist organization. The premise just sounds really interesting, and I've heard a couple of people talk about it and say that it was really good, so I have that. It's really not very long, so it should, oh, yeah, and it's like 200 pages long, so tell me if someone wants to buddy read this one with me. It's really short, and I think it would be an interesting one. All right, I have 3 more books that I purchased, and then 4 books that I got for free, which was lovely. So the rest of the books that I purchased were ones where it was the end of the day, everybody was closing up shop and selling things for super cheap, and I just like can never resist a deal. So the first one is a pretty interesting sounding nonfiction book. I picked it up for $5, which was like a really good deal, but this is America's Dark Theologian, The Religious Imagination of Stephen King by Douglas E. Cowan. This is a nonfiction. I mean, you can tell what it's about just by the description. It sounds really interesting. I'm not a huge Stephen King fan, but I find it interesting, the things that he's done and the way that he's become such this icon in terms of literature and horror. And so the premise of this sounds really interesting, so I think I would like to give it a try and see what I think. I also know that I have some friends who are super into Stephen King, so I may end up passing this along to one of them because as like, you know, a gift or something. But for $5, I thought that that was a really interesting one to pick up. And then I have been thinking a lot lately about the fact that I don't read a lot of translated fiction, and it's something that I would like to have as a more regular part of my reading diet, and would like to attempt to actually include it, maybe not a ton all the time, but occasionally. And so Europa Editions does these gorgeous editions of works of translated fiction, and they had a table at the Brooklyn Book Festival, and at the end of the day they discounted everything to $5 each. So I picked up 2 books at their table, and then I actually have another Europa edition that I picked up for free elsewhere, so I'll show that to you guys too. But the 2 that I bought are actually ones that I have been recommended by Karen over at Run Right Reads. She read both of these and really loved them. So the first one I have is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. This is book 1 of the Neapolitan novels, and I guess it's going to be a series on HBO soon. I don't know a whole lot about what this is about. I think the series sort of follows this girl in childhood, and she has a friend, so I don't really know. And I guess the big thing with Elena Ferrante is nobody knows who she is. She has never come out publicly, and so there's a lot of theories about who she might be, which is interesting. So I've been curious to pick up something by her, so I've got that. And then the other book is called The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barbary, and it's about a girl who like lives in a hotel, and I don't know. I'm sure it's about much more than that, but I don't really remember. So yeah, anyway, I picked those up and I'm excited to read them. Karen really loved them and recommended them, so those might be a great addition to adding some works of translated fiction to my life. And then I also stopped by a table where they have a international literary magazine where they talk all about translated fiction, and if you signed up for their newsletter, you got to pick out a free book, which is pretty cool. So I did that, and I picked up another Europa edition, which is The Athenian Woman by Alessandro Barbero. This has been translated from Italian, and it sounds super interesting. It's set in Athens, but it says it's a powerful vision of class struggle, the subjugation of women under a patriarchal system, and the courage needed to change the course of history. All of which totally sounds right up my alley. It's not a very long book, so I grabbed that, and it sounds super interesting. The last books that I have to share with you guys from the Brooklyn Book Festival are all books that I received for free from Amazon's Little A imprint. They had a table and they were giving away books if there were things that you were interested in, and I found 3 that looked pretty cool, so I'm going to share those with you. The first one is called We Were Mothers by Katie Seiss or Cece, I'm not sure, but they said that this is good for fans of Liane Moriarty. It is domestic suspense and deals with motherhood, all of which are things that are definitely on my list of things that I enjoy. So this one looked cool. Also, it's a really pretty cover with like the flowers. I kind of like that. Then I picked up Halsey Street by Naima Coster. This is adult literary fiction set in Brooklyn, I believe, and I think the main character is a person of color. So yeah, I've heard some interesting things about this. And this is also a debut novel, so that one looks fun. And the final book that I picked up from them is a nonfiction account that looks super interesting. This is Hell's Princess, The Mystery of Belle Gunness, Butcher of Men by Harold Schechter. And this is about a female serial killer named Belle Gunness, and she apparently would lure men to her farm and then they would like disappear. So yeah, that sounds super interesting. Okay, so those are all of the books that I got at Brooklyn Book Festival. Like I said, way more than I was anticipating, but I am really excited about them. I got a lot of kind of interesting things to add to the collection. Moving on, it is time for my book outlet order, which I am very excited about. Guys, I remember at least one of the books in here, the one that I like am most excited to have, but let's just see. And the prices are just so good. So I will let you guys know what I paid for them. Okay. All right, first up, I have a book that completes my series. I have not read these yet, but I have books 1 and 3, so I found book 2 in hardcover. This is Monument 14, Sky on Fire by Emmy Laybourne. This is YA dystopian. So now I have all 3 books in the series. I really should read these. And how much was this? This was $1.99, so I now have that entire series. And also it's just like so cool. Look at it, it's got like a map on the end papers, and I don't know, it looks fun. So yeah, I do like dystopian. I know it's like not a thing so much right now, but I like it. Then I have been hearing a ton about Laurie Halse Anderson lately, and I have never read anything by her. So I think I have 2 books by her in this. We'll see what I get to, but here's one of the ones that I picked up. How much was this? This was like, whoa, $4.29. Okay, so this was $4.29. I have Chains, and this was a National Book Award finalist, and it won the Scott Odell Award for Historical Fiction. It's really beautiful. It's hardcover. It was like $4. What is this about? It's like a set during the Revolutionary War. Oh, interesting. So it's about a girl who's a slave during the Revolutionary War who's trying to like fight for her freedom. And the cover is really pretty. It won awards, so I'm assuming it's pretty good. So yeah, I want to read some things by her. I know Speak is really well known. She's written a lot of books that have won awards and have been a big deal in children's literature. So yeah, I figure that is probably something that I should check out. Okay, this is the book, guys, that I'm most excited to have. How much did I pay for this? Okay, so this was $10.69. If you guys don't know, beginning of September, I read Nevernight by J. Kristoff from my library, and I loved it so much. So much, which I didn't expect. So, of course I needed to read God's Grave, and I was like, well, I can always get it out from my library, but I knew I probably wanted to own them. I'm still looking out for Nevernight, so eventually I'll probably own that one as well, but I don't want to pay full price. So I found, for less than $11, a signed first edition. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's so beautiful. Signed first edition. Look, it's signed. It's so pretty. It's got Mia. I love it. I'm so excited. So now I actually own God's Grave. I need to read it. It's funny, I'm like reading all these contemporary books right now and books that I need to review, and I've been like eyeing God's Grave because I have it from my library too, and I've been like, I really want to read God's Grave, but I can't because I need to read other things. So I'm really excited to get to this. It is very dark. This is adult, very adult fantasy about a female assassin, and I love it. I love J. Kristoff. I think I didn't like Illuminae so much, but I think when he writes on his own, it really works for me. I like his sense of humor. I like how dark he gets with things. I like his world building and his characters. It works really well for me. So I'm very excited to pick up God's Grave. And, okay, got a few more. I also bought books to finish up another series. If you guys don't know, I have book 1 in the Mara Dyer trilogy. So I bought books 2 and 3, The Evolution of Mara Dyer and The Retribution of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hudkin. I now own that complete trilogy, and this is YA horror suspense, I believe. I will be reading more of it soon. Oh, good. Okay, yes. So, 3 books to go. First up is one that I have heard several people talk about, and I think I've had a couple of people recommend to me. Maybe Mara? Mara at Books Like Whoa, maybe? I don't know if it was her or not, but I've definitely had people talk to me about this. This is The Rook by Daniel O'Malley. Oh, and I didn't tell you how much those other books were. Let's see. The Mara Dyer books were $4.29 each, and The Rook was $3.19. And like I said, I've heard a lot about these. It sounds interesting. It says, On Her Majesty's Supernatural Secret Service. Super fascinating. So yeah, apparently it's about a woman who wakes up surrounded by dead bodies with no memory of what happened, and I don't know, some supernatural secret service for the Queen in England. And I've heard several people say that this is really good. It's adult fiction, and yeah, so I finally found that for super cheap and picked it up. And then I've got 2 more books in here. Okay, so the first one is Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. This was a National Book Award finalist. I knew I had another one by her. So this is the one that everybody talks about all the time. I don't even know what it's about. It's kind of an interesting cover. What is this? What is this about? Okay. I don't know. Sounds like a girl that's been bullied or something, maybe? I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, so I want to pick that up. I know that those are kind of a big deal in middle grade and children's literature, and I've never read anything by her. All right, and the last thing that I grabbed, how much was that actually? Speak was $4.29 also. And then for $3.79, I picked up a book that finishes a trilogy. I found the first two books for the second two books in it for 50 cents each, and then they had a book one in the Cousins of Dwyer trilogy by Nora Roberts, Dark Witch. Of course, this is like a full-size paperback, and the other ones are mass market paperbacks, but that's okay. I don't mind. So now I have that complete trilogy. I could try reading something by Nora Roberts. I have never read anything by her, and I think I probably should. Also, this is a really pretty edition, and look at that. It's like, it's really quite lovely. Makes me want to like get the rest of it in this edition, but for now. And I love like the covers are just beautiful. Anyway, whew, all that to say, those are all of the books that I have hauled recently. I'm pretty excited about a lot of them. So talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts on any of these. If you guys want to buddy read any of these with me, you know I am always a fan of doing that because it helps me to really get through and read all of the things on my shelves. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.